Welcome to the Conversion Bible.
Yeah.
Ever land on a website and instantly feel like, yeah, these are my people?
Oh, absolutely. Or maybe you bought something online and it hits you later.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the
It
product.
was the feeling, right? The
Yeah,
connection. And, well, more often than not, that feeling, it's powered by story.
exactly.
Yeah.
We tend to think online shopping is all logic features, price comparisons, but our emotions, they're huge drivers in what we buy.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into an article called Using Storytelling to Drive Emotional Connections and Shopify Conversions.
Huh.
Our mission is pretty straightforward. We want to equip you, the learner, with a really clear understanding of how weaving compelling stories into your Shopify store can build those vital emotional links and, well, ultimately boost your sales.
And this isn't just theory, right? It's backed by data, by real examples from stores making it work.
Definitely not just fluff. And this deep dive is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. You can test it for free on your Shopify store. Just head over to the Shopify App Store now and test it free.
So what's really key here, I think, is this core idea.
Mhm.
In e-commerce, storytelling isn't just, spinning a yarn. It's a strategic way to build actual relationships with customers.
Yeah, through narrative.
Consider the difference. You could say, this is a handmade leather wallet. Oh, okay, fine.
Pretty dry.
Or you tell the story of Maria. She's a third-generation leather artisan. She personally picks every piece of leather, hand-stitches every wallet, using techniques passed down through her family.
You feel it immediately, don't you? One's a fact, the other creates an image, heritage, a person.
Exactly. And the impact. It's huge. The article mentions stores using strong narratives see conversion rates jump by as much as 30%.
30%. And that's not all, right? Products with stories can often sell at higher prices.
With less pushback on price, yeah. And brand loyalty. 5 times higher for brands with good stories. That's massive.
It's a totally different ballgame, like unlocking revenue you didn't know was there.
Which brings up a really good question.
Yeah.
Why does this work so well? Is it just clever marketing spin, or is something, deeper going on?
Well, the article digs into the psychology and, yeah, it gets pretty fascinating. It's not just about hearing information, it's about experiencing it.
Right. There's this concept called neural coupling. Basically, when you're really hooked by a story, your brain activity can actually start to sync up with the storyteller's brain.
Wow. Okay. So it's like a subconscious connection.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Something facts alone just can't do. It builds trust. Like the article gives this example. Reading about the struggle to perfect a skincare formula,
Mm-hmm.
your brain almost simulates that struggle. You feel empathy. You get invested in the brand's journey.
That's powerful. You're kind of living the story with them. And there's more, right? Like dopamine.
Exactly. Stories trigger dopamine release, which is crucial for memory. So you might forget elective specs,
Oh, instantly.
but you'll remember the story of how that product actually helps someone, how it made a difference.
So as a store owner, you need stories that put your customer in those shoes. Show the experience. Don't just list features. It makes your brand memorable.
And that improved memory. It means your brand is top of mind later when they are ready to buy. It's about long-term recall, not just one sale.
And it sounds a bit weird, maybe, but sharing authentic stories, even the struggles, that builds trust.
Yeah, the article calls it trust building through vulnerability, showing you're human, honest, not some faceless company that creates a stronger bond.
Okay, so it feels good, connects people, but there's a solid business case here too, right? It hits the bottom line.
Absolutely. The article is clear. This isn't just a nice to have. It directly impacts key metrics on Shopify.
Let's talk numbers again. Those Shopify stores redesigning around narrative, they saw conversion rate lifts between 12% and, get this, 33%.
That's a serious improvement. And it's not just more sales, it's bigger sales too. Emotionally connected customers, they spend about 23% more per order on average.
Wow, so higher average order value directly from the story. And retention.
Huge win there. Acquiring new customers costs way more than keeping current ones happy. Brands with strong stories, their repeat purchase rates are up to 40% higher.
That kind of loyalty is gold.
Plus, when customers are emotionally bought in, they're less likely to quibble over price. They're buying the story, the connection, not just the item. Helps your margins.
And in a super crowded market, like everywhere online, that unique story, that can be the one thing that sets you apart.
Totally. Competitors might copy your product, but they can't copy your authentic story.
Okay, so we get the why, the psychology, the business results. Now, what about the what? What kinds of stories actually work for e-commerce conversions?
Right, because not just any old tale will do the trick. It's about specific elements.
The article breaks it down nicely. First up, Your brand narrative, this is the big picture story.
Your foundation.
Yeah, your origin story, how and why you started. Your mission, the purpose beyond profit.
Mm.
And your core values, what guides you. Think like Patagonia and their environmental focus. It's everywhere.
Definitely. Then you've got product stories.
Mm.
Each item has a story, right? How it was made, the inspiration, the problem it solves. You weave the features into that narrative.
Makes features much less boring.
Yeah.
And then, hugely important, customer story.
Oh, yeah. Super powerful.
Mm.
Real voices, real experiences, testimonials, obviously, but also use cases showing how people use your stuff in their lives.
And those transformation stories, the before and afters that really show the impact.
Can't forget founder stories either. People connect with people. Sharing the founder's journey, the hurdles, the vision that builds relatability.
Makes the brand feel less corporate. And
Yeah.
lastly, the article mentions cause-related narratives.
Very relevant today. People care about impact. So talking about your social initiatives, sustainability efforts, charitable partnerships, that resonates.
Okay, lots of story types. So how do you actually create these for your Shopify store? Is there a process?
There is. The article lays out a framework. It's not just random creative writing. It's structured.
First step, start with your why.
This echoes Simon Sinek, right? People buy why you do it.
Exactly. You have to ask, why this business? What change do you want to make? What problem obsesses you? That's the emotional core.
Makes sense. Then you need to nail down your unique value proposition, UVP. What makes you different?
And frame that as part of the story. What's your unique approach? Your special expertise? How does that directly help the customer?
And critically, you need to understand your customers' aspirations and pain points. What are they struggling with? What are their dreams?
Because your story needs to show how your product bridges that gap, meet them where they are.
Then you structure it, right? Create narrative arcs.
Yeah, a common e-commerce pattern is setup, the situation problem, conflict, the challenge, resolution, your product helps, and transformation, the positive outcome.
Like a mini story for each product or campaign. But it's not all emotion, is it? Good point. You need to balance emotion with facts. Use the story to connect, but back it up with details, specs, evidence. Things that provide rational justification too. Credibility matters.
Okay, framework in place. Stories crafted. Now, where do they go? You can't just dump them all on one page.
Definitely not. Storytelling needs to be woven through the entire customer journey, every touch point.
So starting with the homepage, that's the first impression.
Right. Your hero section needs that emotional why. Maybe a short origin snippet. Frame your UVP narratively. The article mentions Cozy Earth. They immediately talk about their belief in better bedding, then hint at their journey finding sustainable fabrics.
Sets the tone. What about collection pages? They're usually just grids of products.
They can be more. Add collection stories, the inspiration behind that group of products, thematic narratives, connecting items, lifestyle context show how these products fit together in someone's life.
Makes browsing more engaging, but the product page, that's crucial for conversion, right?
Absolutely. That's where you go deep. Tell the product's creation story. Use problem-solution narratives for features. Show behind-the-scenes content, the people, the process, and load it up with those customer testimonial stories showing transformations.
Even the checkout process seems tricky.
Subtle touches work. Impact messaging. Your purchase plants a tree. Build anticipation. We're carefully handcrafting your order. Reinforce trust with mini stories about your guarantee.
Keeps the feeling going. And it shouldn't stop after they buy, right?
Yeah.
Post-purchase.
No way. Order confirmation email. Your journey with us has begun. The unboxing experience use packaging inserts, follow-up emails that continue the brand story, or share user stories.
Builds that long-term relationship and email marketing in general.
Prime territory. Your welcome sequence can unfold the brand story over several emails. Send emails dedicated to specific product stories, spotlight customers and their experiences.
Okay, that makes sense strategically. Now let's get practical. How do you actually build this stuff into a Shopify store, technically?
Good question. The article gets into that. Shopify actually has tools to help manage this without being a coding genius,
Yeah.
like meta objects.
Data objects.
Yeah.
What are those exactly?
Think of them as custom data containers. You can create a structure, say, for a designer story, with fields for bio, inspiration, process. Then you can easily reuse that structured story across all relevant products. Keeps things consistent and scalable.
Ah, okay. So it organizes the story content. And your Shopify theme itself must play a big role.
Huge. You might need to customize it, add specific sections for stories, maybe create flexible story blocks you could use on different pages. And don't forget typography. Make sure the text looks like part of the story, easy to read, Fits the mood.
Makes sense. Are there apps that can help?
Loads of them. Apps for managing complex content, embedding videos smoothly, collecting and displaying those customer review stories. Check the Shopify App Store.
And with everyone on their phones, mobile optimization must be critical.
Non-negotiable. Stories have to work on small screens. Maybe use progressive disclosure, reveal info bit by bit, don't overwhelm, make sure buttons and links are easy to tap. And crucially,
Let me guess. Speed.
speed. Like speed. Stories often involve images, videos. They can slow things down if you're not careful. Optimize images. Use lazy loading so things load only when needed. Use CDN's content delivery networks to serve content faster globally.
Got it. Keep it fast, keep it mobile friendly. Now, beyond text and structure, visuals are huge in e-commerce, right? Visual storytelling.
Absolute massive. Visuals hit you instantly, emotionally, often more powerfully than words.
So product photography. It's more than just white background.
Way more. Think context shots show the product in use in a lifestyle setting. Process photos, how it's made, where materials come from. Sequential shots before, during, after using the product. Tell a story with the images.
And video. Seems like a big opportunity.
Huge. Brand documentaries for your origin story or mission. Process videos showing craftsmanship. Customer testimonials, hearing it from them directly is powerful. Product in use videos demonstrating benefits.
What about animation or interactive stuff?
Yeah, that can be cool too. Subtle animations to highlight key points. Scrolly telling where the story unfolds as you scroll. Animated illustrations for complex ideas. Interactive timelines for your brand history.
Adds another layer of engagement. And color matters too, presumably. Emotional design.
Definitely. Color psychology is real. Choose colors that match your brand story's mood. And be consistent visually everywhere, website, emails, ads, so the story feels cohesive.
Okay, visuals covered. But the words themselves, the copywriting still needs to carry that emotional weight, right?
Absolutely. The right words forge the connection.
So for product descriptions, instead of just specs.
Use narrative structures. Frame it as problem-solution. Tell the origin story of that specific product. Take them on the journey of its creation.
And headlines and calls to action, CTAs.
Inject emotion there too. Pique curiosity. Discover the secret. Create belonging. Join thousands who love. Promise achievement. Unlock your potential.
Makes the user feel something right away. What about sensory language?
Yes. Engage the senses. Describe how something looks. Deep indigo blue. Feels velvety soft. Even sounds a satisfying snap. Makes it more real, more memorable.
You can even develop characters in your stories.
For sure. The founder can be the protagonist. The customer is often the hero of their own story, using your product. Sometimes the product itself can have a personality.
And like any good story, you need tension and resolution.
Right. Set up the challenge the customer faces, build a little tension around that problem, then position your product as the satisfying solution, the resolution to their struggle.
All these techniques, visuals, words, structure, it all has to feel real, though. Authenticity seems key.
It's paramount, especially now. Consumers are savvy, they can smell fake from a mile away. Trust is built on being genuine.
So that means transparency, sharing how things are made, priced.
Exactly. Be open about sourcing, your process, even your pricing structure, if appropriate. Tell those behind-the-scenes stories.
And you mentioned vulnerability earlier, sharing challenges.
Yeah, it works. Don't pretend everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Sharing setbacks, how you overcame them, how you learn from mistakes. It makes you relatable, human, builds connection.
And being consistent everywhere is vital too, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. Your story needs to be the same on your website, your social media, your emails, and your ads. Same voice, same values. Otherwise, it feels disjointed, maybe even dishonest.
And finally, using social proof to back it all up.
Yes. Feature real customer stories, showcase your community using your products, highlight positive reviews, third-party badges or certifications. It validates your narrative.
Okay, so you've done all this work, built the stories, integrated them. How do you actually know if it's working? How do you measure the impact?
Great question. You need to track it. Look at your key performance indicators, your KPIs.
Like conversion rate.
Definitely. Compare conversion rates on pages with strong stories versus pages without. Track your average order value. Are story-engaged customers spending more? Look at time on page for story content. Are people actually reading or watching? And your return customer rate is storytelling, building loyalty.
A/B testing seems essential here too.
For sure. Test everything. Story versus no story. Different story types against each other. Where you place the story on the page. Even story length. See what resonates best with your audience.
Numbers are important, but what about the feel? Qualitative feedback.
Crucial. Talk to customers. Do interviews. Monitor social media. What are people saying about your brand stories? Ask your sales or support teams what stories connect with customers they talk to.
And you can use tools for engagement analysis.
Yeah, things like heat maps show where people are clicking and looking on your story pages. Scroll depth tracking shows how far down they're reading. Video analytics show completion rates. It gives you clues about engagement.
Seeing it in action helps. The article had some case studies, right? Real Shopify stores.
It did some great examples.
Like Smash Plus Tests, the Romper brand.
Right. They used those meta objects we talked about to scale their storytelling consistently as they grew. They created specific types for designer inspiration and fabric story.
And the results.
Pretty impressive. A 12% conversion rate increase, 18% higher average order value. The takeaway: structure helps you scale that personal touch.
Then there was Doggylon.
Yeah, they rebuilt their site around the founder's personal story, solving a problem for his own dog. Conversion rates jumped 33% in just 3 months.
Wow. Shows the power of that personal why.
Totally. It creates a connection competitors just can't fake.
And Tom Ms. shoes, of course.
Classic example. Their whole brand is the one-for-one story.
Yeah.
Justifies the price, builds massive loyalty, created a movement. Their why is their differentiator.
So it can work really well, but people must make mistakes sometimes, right? What are the common storytelling pitfalls?
Oh, definitely. The article highlights a few key ones.
Like being inauthentic.
Number one, probably. Making stuff up, trying too hard. It backfires. Solution: ground everything in truth. Be real.
What about narrative inconsistency, telling different stories in different places?
Yeah, that confuses people. The fix is having a story Bible, a central document defining your core narratives, key messages, voice. Everyone uses that as a guide.
Makes sense. Trying to be too clever, overcomplicating things.
That's another one. Keep it simple. Clear story arcs. Easy to follow, emotionally resonant. Don't get lost in complexity.
And focusing too much on features instead of benefits.
Classic mistake. Listing specs instead of talking about the impact on the customer's life. Always bring it back to the emotional benefit, the transformation.
And finally, just messing up the technical side.
Yeah, slow load times, broken videos, bad mobile experience. Kills even the best story. Need regular technical checks and optimization.
Okay, so avoid those. For stores already doing the basics, are there advanced strategies?
The article touches on some next level stuff, yeah.
Like personalized narratives.
Right. Using data to tailor the story elements someone sees based on their behavior or segment. Dynamic content, triggered story paths, making it highly relevant.
What about interactive storytelling?
Getting the customer involved.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure type things, interactive timelines they can explore, quizzes that lead to story-based recommendations.
And using user-generated content, UGC.
Turning customers into co-storytellers, running campaigns asking for their stories, building communities around shared experiences. Very powerful.
Creates a shared narrative and cross-channel stuff.
Building a narrative universe. Telling parts of the story on social, parts via email, parts on the site, making it a bigger, more immersive experience that unfolds across platforms.
Cool. Looking even further ahead, what about future trends? Where is this heading?
Well, technology will play a big role. Think AI-generated personalized narratives.
Get AI writing stories for each customer.
Potentially, yeah. Dynamically creating unique narratives based on vast amounts of data, maybe even predicting what story will resonate most.
And VR and AR, virtual and augmented reality.
Huge potential there for immersion. Virtual stores where the environment tells the story. AR overlays that bring product stories to life right in your living room.
Wow. What about voice commerce?
Storytelling will need to adapt. Voice-optimized narratives, conversational commerce flows that feel like a story unfolding, even distinct audio branding that tells your story through sound.
And community-driven stories.
Taking UGC even further,
Yeah.
maybe decentralized platforms where the community truly co-creates and owns parts of the brand narrative.
Fascinating stuff on the horizon. So let's try and wrap this up. What's the main takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the core insight, really, is that storytelling isn't just window dressing. It fundamentally transforms your Shopify store from just a place to buy things into an experience that builds real emotional connections. And that drives conversions and long-term loyalty.
We covered a lot: the psychology, the why it works, the framework for creating stories, how to implement them technically and visually across the journey, the copywriting, the importance of trust.
Measurement, case studies, pitfalls, future trends.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
But at its heart, it's about authentic communication, right? Who you are, why you do it, and how your products actually make a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. It's about connecting on a human level.
So if you're listening and thinking, okay, where do I even start? The advice seems to be don't try to do everything at once.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Start small. Maybe just really nail down your core why. Get that clear first. Then layer in product stories or start collecting customer stories.
And remember, it's a process, yeah. Keep refining based on feedback, on data, see what resonates.
It's an ongoing conversation with your customers, told through stories.
Well said. And just a reminder, this episode of the Conversion Bible was powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and give it a try.
So, a final thought to leave you with. Take a moment and really consider, what's the core emotional story your ideal customer is living? What are their hopes, their struggles? And then ask yourself, how can your brand, through its own story and products, become a genuinely positive and meaningful chapter in their story?